Okay, good evening everybody and welcome back to FTRL. Here we are, the final race of the final week of Season 12 Career Mode. What a fantastic season it's been. I think it's safe to say that everybody involved has had an amazing time. There's been some brilliant battles throughout the 12 weeks that we've been on track. And we are in the position now where it all comes down to this race, 26 laps of the famous Spa circuit. And although the constructor's title is sewn up, it was confirmed last night for Team Dead Bull, the Drivers' Championship is still on the line, so we'll run through that and the various permutations up and down the table in a minute. Let's just have a quick look. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying today, so plenty of time to run through all the whys and wherefores. We've got T. Smith leading us out tonight, so he'll be looking to get the first flying lap in. Positive Ross following him in the orange and blue livery there. I think we're all well used to seeing the Milka livery from Aaron as he looks to get lined up and get as fast as possible run out of the start-finish straight. You see Aaron already gunning the overtake button there. As we found out last night, there was a bit of confusion last night. Some people didn't know whether or not we were using the overtake in qualifying. Personally, I thought we might be using it, but it might not. It might carry over to the race the amount we've used, so we only used it a little bit. Hopefully everybody should know by now that you can gun it as much as you want, which is exactly what we're seeing here from Aaron. Hopefully that was the reason for some of the outstanding qualifying times we were seeing yesterday. I think pole ended up being a 153.6, 153.4, something like that, which is madness. There you go. Obviously a lot of these guys used to driving the F1 style cars. A lot of them do race in the F1 league as well, so that should give them a big advantage. But Pagani a bit further back in the red and yellow, followed by Lee Cole, City Wash Blue. He's got a fairly decent gap. He'll be looking to hold on to a podium position for the Drivers' Championship. Junkie Sport following him, and then Nobby Norris, Bredish Daddy, Fever, and last out on track is FTRL Pete Man. So let's take a look at the standings and what's needed. T. Smith leads the way, 585 points, and the only person who can catch him is this man here, FTRL Pagani. So Pagani is on 556, so he's a full 29 points behind. However, that doesn't mean it's out of the question for him, because there's a lot of points on offer tonight. Firstly, there's 5 points for pole. So you see T. Smith comes to set a 154.9 and take provisional pole, but he's quickly knocked off that by Aaron, and then Pagani going just in behind Aaron. So, as I said, 5 points for pole, and then it's 65 points for the win. So there's a maximum of 70 points on offer tonight. You would think that Pagani would need to take all 70 points to have a chance. If he does, obviously that leaves T. Smith needing 49. No, sorry, not 49, 41, my mistake. He's 29 points ahead off 70, so he's going to need 41 points. You get 42 points for 4th place. So if Pagani wins and gets pole, then T. Smith is going to need to get at least 4th in the race to guarantee himself the title. Obviously, if Pagani fails to win or get pole position, then that starts to slip down and the various permutations will come into play, but I'll keep you abreast of them as we go. So that's what it looks like for the title. There's a few different battles going on up and down the grid as well that we might want to keep an eye on. The team championship, as I said, is sewn up, but the battle for second place is still on between Team Aaron, who are currently in 3rd, and an unsafe junkie called Pete Romelson. So that's Aaron and there's Aaron. So it's Aaron who's currently on pole and Bredish Your Daddy versus Pete Man and FTRL Junkie Sport. So Junkie and Pete their team started 6 points ahead before this week's racing. However, yesterday, last night's racing, saw a pretty composed performance from the other half of that team. So unsafe release, and Rob Elson gains, I believe it was 2nd and 6th, which has gained them quite a few more points. So we'll have to see how all that one shakes out, but we'll be able to tell probably fairly early on how that one's going to work out. And then there's a few other battles going on up and down the grid as well, individually. So we're seeing everybody, yeah, there's been a flying lap set, but there's plenty of time to come with tyres and get a couple more laps in, so that is basically what everybody's doing. You can see a couple of the guys, Ross, Bread and Fever, starting qualifying on the medium tyres. That means they're going to be starting the race on the mediums, so they obviously want to get off those and onto the soft so they can set a quick lap time. Interesting to see how much fuel everyone's managing to burn off as well. See City Posh exit the pits. So as everybody comes around the first half of what is pretty much an outlap for most people. P-Man's still going, but most other people I think are on an outlap. Just in the pits as they all come round. Let me know in the chat. Drop a note in the comments, say hello, let me know what your favourite moment personally of this season has been. It can be something you've achieved, it could be something somebody else has achieved, it could be something to do with your team, it could just be something hilarious. Yeah, drop me a comment in the chat, let me know. There's been so many moments. I think my personal favourite was probably Nobby Norris trying to go a full race distance on the NASCAR race on one set of tyres and failing miserably about halfway round. I think I've mentioned it before during this season, but I'm going to keep mentioning it just because it was it was enthralling watching him go around thinking how much longer can he hold on, and the answer turned out to be not very long at all. Mark, absolutely. The first podium, yeah. God, that seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? The Masters. Jeez. That was carnage. Okay, so we've got people coming around to start the next lot of flying laps. Aaron obviously still holds pole from just under a tenth back to Pagani. 1:54.7. I would expect that pole position to be taken by somebody. It might be Aaron setting a faster time, it might be somebody else, but I'd expect quicker than that to be pole position by the time we finish the next 6.5 minutes. So see the overtake button's being gunned again, Pagani sets off. Now a quick look back, see if anybody's is anybody looking to use, it doesn't look much like it. I don't see anybody looking to use any slipstream off anyone else. It is a risk. You will obviously gain time down the straights, but you can close up quite quick in these cars, so it might compromise you around the rest of the lap. Let's say my overtake last night. Which one? The one on me, or is that the one for the one on the final corner for the win, for the podium? Yeah, I don't blame you. That was fun last night. If anybody's watching, you weren't either racing or watching last night. It was great fun. I'm pretty sure this is going to be very, very similar. Some excellent driving, I show. I think the only issues people had were boost button related. Pagani has jumped ahead of Aaron in the order in terms of on track, and he's a second up on his fastest time, so we are already into the 1:53s if he can keep his pace up. I'm going to stick with T. Smith because he's at the head of the pack. Let's see how he can do. So he's got a 1:54.9 personal best to beat, 1:54.7 to take pole. He is looking like he's going to be inside that. To 1:53, so we've got our first 1:53. It's a 1:53.5 from T. Smith. That is rapid. Aaron can't go any quicker. Pagani, a 1:53.4 goes into pole, so he remains 1/10 clear now. So Pagani up into pole. They've got 4.5 minutes, so technically they've got 3 more laps they can do here. Obviously these tyres, these soft tyres, now got to go off fairly quickly. If they're lucky, they might just squeeze in another pit stop. A couple of the guys at the front, I think, may be able to come in this lap, do an outlap, and then get one more flying lap in. So that, we'll see if anyone, I didn't see anyone do that last night. You have to be out fairly quick and set some quick laps in order to do it. Let's see what they're capable of doing. So Fever makes his way up into second, just 5 thousandths of a second ahead of T. Smith. There is some rapid qualifying times being set here. We've now got 3 drivers all around the time that was last night's pole position. Evening, Ron. Speaking of pole position, to have you on board, mate, congratulations. You just about held me off in the championship, courtesy of that pole. I thought I'd done it for a second, and then I remembered you'd snagged that at 5 points for pole position. That's enough. That was enough, but there we go. Well deserved. So let's have a quick run down the order. We've got Pagani, Fever, T. Smith, Aaron, Junkie Sport is in 5th. So a good lap from Junkie there. Brady Shidad is 6th. Lee Cole in 7th. Ross, City Posh, Peteman in 10th, and then Nobby Norris will look to improve on that lap, and he's already nearly 7/10 up through the first sector, so looking promising for an improvement from Nobby. But back to the front, T. Smith still leading this train round, and he is going to duck into the pit, so he's seen that opportunity. He is going to come in for more tyres. Is anybody else going to follow him? Yep, Ross is in as well, Pagani's in as well. It looks like everybody is going to take advantage of that, or at least all the front runners. Lee's going to chance his arm as well. It's going to be reasonably tight for anyone else. It's about 35 seconds through the pits without fuel. 30 to 35 seconds. So these guys are going to get out with about 2 minutes remaining, which is just enough time to get your out lap in. Anybody else? Phoebe is going to try it. I think he's going to be very, very close. Yeah, Rom, I thought I had you as well. And then I remembered. You never know. It depends if you horribly punted anyone off it during the race at any point. I don't know. I'll cling on to the faint hope that there might be a penalty coming your way. No, I wouldn't want it to happen like that. Of course, Peteman's up to 7th. So 1:54.7 for Peteman. These are seriously rapid times coming in. If a 1:54.7 only gets you 7th place. The lesson of the boost button has been learned. Nobby Norris does set a faster time, but he's not been able to get off the bottom of the pack at the minute. City Posh Blue is still down in 10th, so that's interesting. City Posh Blue currently 3rd in the championship. It's not unfeasible that people could catch him. He's got a decent lead. He had a 29-point lead over Rom before the start of this week's races. So he'd have to finish pretty low down to he'd have to be an absolute bottle from City Posh for him not to keep 3rd in the driver's standings, but we'll just keep an eye on his qualifying. I'm sure he's going to put a quick lap in shortly. Let's have a look at this split as he comes round. Sweeping right left. I think he might have already... no, the split's coming up here, isn't it? I think he's significantly quicker. Yeah, a little quicker, not too much. Just going to have to pick up a bit more. He will just about get another lap in after this one. So let's double check. I think Fever was the one on the cusp. And he's going to have to hurry. He's getting a toe off Peteman at the minute, so I think Peteman might be on a flying lap. So he's not going to try anything silly, but he's only got 10 seconds left to get to the line if he wants to get another lap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, it sneaks over the line, so Fever will have... Oh no, he slowed down. I think that might be it for him. Yeah, no, he didn't make it. Okay, so that Fever won't be challenging Pagani for pole, but he does currently have 2nd place. I imagine some of these guys are going to be pushing so hard now, they're going to have less fuel in the tank. Might be tough for him to hold on to that front row. So who is out in front at the moment? It's Ross. So we'll keep an eye on Ross as he comes round to the split, and then we'll flick back through everyone to see how they're getting on. So Ross's time currently 1:55.1, he's currently in 9th place. so that'll help him up a couple of positions if he can hold that. Looking back through, we'll see what Ross does, but we're going to keep an eye on Pagani because he'll be the front runner over the line in his final lap. Just hammering that boost button for all it's worth as he comes down the long back straight. He's nearly emptied it over the course of qualifying, which is impressive. Round comes Pagani. Nice line through there. Getting on the power as quickly as possible. He needs to beat a 152. No, Ross has done a 152.9. Absolutely incredible. T. Smith goes pole. Can anybody beat T. Smith to pole? Pagani is third. Aaron is fourth. I think that is probably it. Unbelievable lap from T. Smith once again. 152.7. I mean, Ross must have thought he had it there. Came from absolutely nowhere with a sub 153. A Pagani pole would have been huge, but it is not to be. Yeah, right. You're right, Lennon. Ross was purple, but he just didn't have that time from T. Smith behind him. It wasn't in play at the time. T. Smith was just going even faster. So that is 5 points already for T. Smith. That extends his lead at the top of the championship to 34 points, which means for the title now, all he has to get is 6th. So it's going to require something fairly major to deny him yet another title, but we will see. Anything can happen, as we've seen throughout most of this season. Okay, here we go. Final race of the season for season 12. 26 laps of Spa. And we're off. Pretty decent start from everybody. I haven't seen anybody making a huge jump. And it's T. Smith who leads him in, and Pagani's made the move on Ross into the first corner, so Pagani down the inside, and it's Junkie Sport who's wide. He's got to be careful on those, on that AstroTurf out there, and he does drop to the back. British Danny's made a decent start, and so is Lee Cole. Lee Cole up to 6th. Fever is still 5th with Ross 4th, Aaron 3rd. So both Pagani and Aaron have made the move on Ross at the start, although Ross has started on the medium tyres. All the front runners are on the softs, and it is T. Smith and Pagani side by side as we come down to Les Combes. I don't know, Charlotte. Welcome. I don't know what Aaron's crying about. He's third. He's not doing too bad. I'm going to give up trying to figure out what Aaron was moaning about. We're going to go back to the front. T. Smith still leads Pagani. Not going to let him go. You can be assured of that. It's not going to be easy for T. Smith to break away, despite the fact he got ahead of him in qualifying. There wasn't that much time between them. It's not going to be easy to get away with Pagani getting the slipstream down every straight. The front three do have a gap, so Aaron is just trying to hang on to the coattails of Pagani here. He's not quite in slipstream range, and Pagani's going to look to make the move down into the final chicane, and I think rather sensibly lets him have it, just looks for the cutback. There's no sense in killing each other for the lead on lap 1. So sensible driving. Pagani does have the lead into lap 2, and now T. Smith looks to accelerate down the outside and swings it round, just about gives Pagani the room. And those two have exchanged places again, so good move by T. Smith there as they head down towards Eau Rouge for the second time. Oh, Pagani switches to the outside and then back across. It was a strong move. Yeah, I think Aaron might be able to help Pagani out here if he can, as unsafe as you're saying there. He has closed right back up to them, so these three have made the break, which is to be expected because it was Ross in 4th on the medium tyres, and he was starting to hold people up a bit by the look of it, but most of the pack have got past him now. It's Lee Cole up in 4th, followed by City Posh Blue, and then Fever. So these chaps, a couple of these chaps, Fever, Ross, on the medium tyres now, slipping back down the pack a little bit. It's 3 seconds back to Pete Man in 8th. Something's happened to British Daddy, because he was on a pretty decent run in the mid-pack, but he's dropped way off that now. He's in 9th, closely followed by Junkie Sport, and then at the back is Nobby Norris hanging on to him. Aaron's picked up a penalty somewhere, and that's whether he's cut a corner, hit some bollards or something, that's dropped him off Pagani again. He's going to have to just fight to keep in slipstream range, and the same can be said for Pagani to T Smith as well. Around this middle sector is, I'll say, the bit I found trickiest last night, and T Smith looks to be absolutely lightning around here. Pagani, however, does get the slingshot down into the final chicane, and again the same move as last time. T Smith not going to let him go without a fight this time, trying to keep his nose in. Pagani does get ahead again. Pagani just needs to be careful of his tyres. You can see the difference there even after 2 laps as we flick between the two. T Smith's a reasonable amount less wear. Both of them just hitting the overtake button here and there just to try and compete with each other, and this is going to be side by side into Rouge. It is. Pagani backs out though. Right, and he's leaving absolutely no space right on his rear bumper. He looks to make the move outside, but T Smith just holds the middle line, keeps position. It's working out well for Aaron, these two battling. He's just hanging on in there as well. He has made a little bit of a break himself. 2 seconds clear of City Posh in 5th. Everybody's spacing out a little bit now further back. I'm sure we're going to see someone send it before the end of the race. Wouldn't surprise me. Well, like I said, that the title is T Smith to lose, but you can guarantee Pagani will still want to win this race regardless. So we'll see where we get to. We'll see ascend at some point, guarantee it. Here we go again. Keep the camera on these two for a while because they are battling at every single corner, and Aaron is buying into this as well now as they come down to the final chicane for the 3rd time. This time, and for the first time, T Smith hangs on to his lead as they come out the final corner. And all this battling is just slightly starting to bring Lee Coll into it. 157 for Pagani, 157.3 and a 156.2 for Lee, so he can use this to his advantage here. See if he can buy back into the challenge for the lead. A bit of a wiggle there from Pagani. While these three are having at it, let's keep the camera on them and have a think about strategy and what people could possibly do. We saw a couple of people start on the medium tyres last night and try to get the medium stint out of the way early and then run two sets of soft towards the end. Personally, with the tyre wear I incurred, I had to run 2 sets of mediums and then a set of softs. So it does depend on how you treat the car. If you can keep hold of the tyres, as I have a look through, you see Fever and Ross on the mediums there, obviously doing a very good job of that. I'd say Peteman's doing a pretty good job on his soft as well, although he's very wide there, that won't be helping things. He holds on to it, but if you can get 7-8 laps out of the softs, then you can potentially run 2 lots of soft tyres. Anything less than that, you're probably starting to struggle, or you have to do a massive medium stint, and we saw a couple of the guys, watching back Flicks in particular last night, tried to run a set of mediums. I think it was for 12 laps, something like that, 11-12 laps, and just absolutely killed his tyres and get no grip at the end. And how he managed to hang on to any position with the 3 people battling around him, I have no idea. So yeah, we will see who prevails. Pagani takes the lead again. This is prime battling territory, this final chicane. T Smith just launching it back down the inside. They all come together, and here comes Lee Coll. The gap is now closing in on 1 second. So he's still getting there. These three are suffering from battling each other. It is the final race. I know they're going to want to have a good race. They'll be having a good time in the party, no doubt. But will be to Lee's advantage. To be fair, it's about the only thing Pagani can do. He has to go ultra aggressive. He has to try and force T. Smith into mistakes. It's not enough for him just to overtake him. He'll have to overtake him and hope that there's a big error somewhere from the championship leader. Aaron, meanwhile, has got past Pagani and into second, and Lee is properly buying into this now as well. He's under a second back to Pagani. City Posh is 4 seconds further back and rinsing his tyres at the minute. He has got, this is where the soft, you see the soft start to go off here and the mediums start to come into play, and you can lap at least as quickly, if not more quickly, on the mediums once the soft tyres are sort of half worn. So I'm expecting to see Ross and possibly Fever get past City Posh relatively soon. It's then a 5-second gap back to Junkie Sport, and the bit further back is British Daddy, and Peteman's dropped to 10th, so something happened to Peteman there. He was running 8th, he's now 10th, a few seconds ahead of Nobby Norris, who's running traction control to the max. Look at me. I don't blame him, to be fair, I had a bit on last night. So here comes Pagani, end of lap 5, sorry, T. Smith, end of lap 5, he's trying to build up that lead. Oh, Pagani sent it very deep into the bus stop. Was pretty close. He's just going to have to keep his cool, not let T. Smith get away, because that difference in tyres looks like it might be starting to tell. Gap now just over a second from T. Smith to Pagani. He's using a lot of that overtake. He's nearly used half of it already. We're only on lap 6. He knows he has to try and get himself back in range and stay there until the pits. Ross and Fever have got past City Posh Blue as expected. So City Posh down to 7th. And with his medium tyre still to run, once he goes wide there, he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, you feel. Not a great start for him so far. Front, Pagani is trying to cling on for all he's worth. He knows he can't let T. Smith get away. He's picked up a half-second penalty as Pagani. That shouldn't really affect him. He'll be able to bleed that off. Closing back in Pagani, but that overtake tank is suffering. He's now down to half. He won't be able to keep doing that the whole race. He's going to go in deep again though. It's costing him time through that final chicane. They're going to go around for another lap, so they're on they go into lap 7. Everybody's soft tyres are suffering now. Lee is probably the best out of everyone on his tyres. And behind, you can see the battle continues between Ross and Fever. And those two now leaving City Posh behind. Quite keep in range. He's starting to get away now, is T. Smith. The other thing to take into account obviously is fuel. Once they make the pit stop, that's going to allow whoever's got the most fuel to get even further ahead, and at the minute it looks like that is going in T. Smith's favour as well, especially compared to Pagani. All that overtake button mashing is costing him fuel in the tank. Whether he can possibly underfuel and get the jump or just to stay in the slipstream, we'll have to wait and see, but he is keeping that gap to a consistent second at the minute. So you can see the time that T-Smith is making up through this middle section, these corners. Every time he pulls out the corner is a little bit extra. Pagani's just trying to haul him back in. And meanwhile just biding his time. I would expect to see these guys come in this lap. Maybe they'll try and push it one more depending on what their strategy is. We'll have to wait and see. Yep, in comes T-Smith. And Pagani, Aaron is going around for another lap. So Aaron is going to go on for an 8th lap on the soft, as is Lee. So that is interesting because it's not going to be a quick time. You see they're down in the sort of 159s now. So you would expect the two in front to get the undercut on them. But obviously it will push them a bit longer, a bit further into the race, and give them the possibility of a second set of soft tyres. Means you can go 8 laps on the softs, another 8 laps, and then 10 laps on the mediums, which seems to be doable for these guys. The car responds reasonably well to warm tyres, but there is a limit. Yeah, good point. I did forget to mention that, Ron. Obviously, myself and Ron were battling it out for 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. There's still the possibility of Aaron buying into that as well, but he does need 2nd place. That's not going to help him. Yeah, he does need to get 2nd for that to happen. So, yet another element as we come right to the end of this season. Something else to keep an eye on. Lee is now clearly struggling on his tyres, or he's had a mistake somewhere because the gap to Aaron is stretched back out to 3 seconds. It was a second about the start of this lap. Ross taking a bit of a wiggle coming out of the fast left-hander there. Gets it corrected though. And carries on, and he's just keeping his distance to Fever at the minute. Junkie Sport follows them, just 3 seconds behind, so Junkie Sport keeping an eye on everything. He's not out of it. British Daddy is a fair bit further back. Nobby Norris in 7th, and T-Smith has come out of the pits. It's nearly 8 seconds behind Nobby Norris, but a full 4 seconds now ahead of Pagani. They've both gone onto the medium tyres. Pagani's put slightly more fuel in, so T-Smith using that pit stop just to underfuel slightly and make sure he's got a decent gap so he can run his own race. The leaders are in. Aaron in off the softs, Lee Collin off the softs, Fever in off the mediums. So Fever doing just the 8 laps on the medium tyres. Whether he just wants to get rid of them, get onto the softs, or whether he's planning on running another set of mediums, we will find out. He's done well on his fuel as well, Fever. That should help him in his battle. We'll keep an eye on Aaron here first and see where he comes out relative to T-Smith and Pagani. Comes. He's a fair way behind by the look of it. Yeah, he's a good. So it's all stretched out a little bit over the course of those pit stops. T-Smith 3 seconds clear of Pagani, who is 4 seconds clear of Aaron. And Fever is now under pressure from City Posh Blue. So City Posh has made up some good time in the pits, and he's jumped Fever on the way up the straight into Lacoons. So 7th place at the minute for City Posh, and those two are now hunting down Aaron. Set of mediums for Aaron, set of mediums for City Posh, another set of mediums for Fever. So Fever is running the medium tyres again. Something has gone well. That set of pit stops has worked out pretty badly for Lee Cole. He's behind Fever and City Posh now. So something's got a bit awry there, whether it was at the end of his lap before he came into the pits, I didn't see it, but if you look at the differences between the end laps, Fever's was a 2:38, Lee's was a 2:45, so something's gone. He's put a full tank of fuel in, but I don't mind, whereas Fever hasn't, but still not an ideal position for Lee Cole to be in. So Ross has the lead, still going on the medium tyres around for lap 10. 13 seconds clear of Bread Is Your Daddy, who is pushing on as well, but his lap time's well into the 2 minutes now. Nonetheless, he's been consistent, hoping to run a long stint here. Perhaps he's doing pretty well on his tyres, pretty well on his fuel. If he can pull 11, maybe even 12 laps out of the medium tyres, then that'll give him a good base to run for the line on the softs. T. Smith has got past Nobby Norris, who's still pushing on his first stint. So past his teammate he goes. And heads for the hills. Pagani giving chase. Still a fairly consistent distance back, about 3 seconds back. Myself a beer. It's the last week of the season after all. What's that from Unsave? Oh, like the livery on Bread's car. Let's have a quick look. It's difficult to tell, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, very nice. I went with a completely random livery off the depths of the GT Sport database for mine last night. That's a lot more recognisable. 19 colours mine, but we'll let him off just this once. He's still running in second, and Ross still has the lead. And this time, possibly Ross is going to pit. So 10 laps on the medium tyres for Ross. We'll keep an eye on Brett and see if he's going to do the same, or if he's going to push it for one more. He's doing alright on fuel. He could go for another. He is going for another. So out of everyone, it's our resident American who is going to push on for the longest stint here. Still pretty consistent on the lap times. His last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps have been around about 2 minutes. So while it's not the quickest, it is consistent. He's not dropping buckets of time. Only 3 seconds on that last lap to T. Smith. So this could work out pretty well for him. We'll see how he goes. Guy doing his best at closing that gap. He's taken a couple of tenths on that lap. He's doing a better job of managing his tyres without all the fighting and everything that's going on as well, so it's not looking too bad for Pagani at the minute. Aaron has dropped off a little bit now into third, so Aaron 4 seconds back, and now starting to come under pressure from Feber, who's only a second and a half back. Really interesting to see how these pit stops have worked out. They really seem to have changed up the order and changed the gaps between the races quite a bit. I think in Feber's case that is due in large part to him under-fueling compared to pretty much everyone else, but it keeps him in the game. He's in 7th, Chunky Sport 8th, and Ross, having done a longer stint, is now out in 9th, and he has filled his tank to the brim, so he'll be able to go a lot longer as well. We'll be hoping to catch that time back up later. Relatively quiet race for Pete Man so far. He's been setting pretty decent times. He did stop at the end of lap 7 by the look of it off his first set of tyres, so I wouldn't count him out just yet. Probably count Nobby Norris out. He looks to have had some trouble somewhere. A 2:51 in lap is not ideal. I can only imagine he's had an off somewhere. He's now 20 seconds behind Peteman, and Bread finally does pit at the end of lap 11, so a good stint from him. We'll have a look and see where he comes out. It's on the red line for fuel, so it's going to take him a while to get in and out of the pits as the leaders stream past. Now the gap now under 2 seconds, so Pagani is closing in at 1:56.4 compared to a 1:57.6 from T. Smith. So Pagani really making these medium tyres work for him at the minute. And with slightly more fuel than T. Smith, this is closing back up again. So in no way is Pagani giving this up. Aaron coming under increasing pressure from Feber. down to just over half a second. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you there, to be honest. It's more when the softs start to wear for me, they become a lot slower. And there's a big gain on the mediums if you keep hold of them. The problem I had is that my first set of mediums, I just absolutely shredded trying to battle with everyone off the line. And over the first few laps, and I only managed to do 8 laps on them, so they didn't do me much good at all. But when I got onto the second stint for them, it certainly was a lot better. And you can hang in there with them. So, most people are running the same tyre, running the medium tyres at the minute. But I think everyone except Predator Daddy, who's gone on to the softs for his second stint. So he has come out 7 seconds behind Pete Man. So he'll have the soft tyres and a much fresher set as well to boot, so you should see that time come down fairly quickly. Oh, big wobble from Fever coming around the final chicane. That's going to drop him back a little. Still a decent lap time, but he's suffered a bit there. Aaron pulls away again. 1.6 seconds now the gap for the lead. Another couple of tenths taken by Pagani. That's all he's going to need to get back in contention over the next few laps. As we head on to lap 13 and near the halfway point of this race, it's absolutely flying by, as it always does. A little slip from Fever's left everyone else fairly spread out, at least a couple of seconds between everybody. So they're going to have to just knuckle down now and get in some fast laps of their own volition. After the battling we saw earlier on, very wide for Pagani. You can see he's pushing it hard, and T. Smith applying just a touch of overtake there just to get a bit of boost in and try and keep that gap, so you can see it coming down. It's now 1.2 seconds. Yeah, Pagani used so much boost in the first stint just to try and keep up with T. Smith. He really did. And that cost him on fuel as well, which is why he ended up coming out of the pits about 3 or 4 seconds behind. But he's managed to close that in massively whilst being better on fuel, albeit slightly worse on tyres. So it's all a delicate balance at the minute for Pagani, but he has closed the gap back down to a second again. Picked up a penalty somewhere, but again that won't be an issue at this time. Plenty of time to get rid of that. Takes a tight line into the final chicane. Riding the curbs a little, just a little wiggle on exit, just going to cost him slightly. He still keeps that gap to under a second, so he's not far off T. Smith now. The question is, does he use some of that remaining overtake to try and get within slipstream range? He might even need it. Yeah, you can see T. Smith using that now. He's using what he's got in reserve just to maintain that gap and stop Pagani getting into slipstream range. So smart work from T. Smith, just applying it sparingly. Pagani will want to be within that 3/4 of a second. That'll allow him to get the slipstream and be able to take it a lot easier then. Save a bit of fuel, save a bit of tyre. And I'm still doing a good job of holding on to third. Looking back through the others, we see that City Posh Blue is now right into the back of Junkie Sport. I think Junkie Sport might have actually taken him recently. So I think City Posh was ahead of him previously. May be mistaken, very similar coloured cars. Junkie holding on to 6th at the minute. Could be a good result for him. He can hold there. You can see Ross closing in now. He was sort of 6 or 7 seconds behind these two. It's now just 2.5 seconds. So that late stint getting out on the fresh tyres now starting to pay dividends for him. And also for British Daddy, who's closed that previous 7-second gap to Pete Man down to 3. So this is where you see these guys who ran the longer first stint. This is where you see them come back into it as the other tyres start to wear. Brett now punching the boost button as he goes through the middle sector and into the sweeping left-hander. You don't need, you probably will need to brake and have to put the boost on, yeah, just a dab of brake there. At normal speed you don't need to brake for there, you can just let off a bit. And that gap is now 2 seconds, so British Daddy is not hanging about. He knows he needs to be a good few places ahead of Peatman to help in that fight for the team positions, and for his own driver's position as well in the standings. Those two are pretty close. In fact, Peatman is just a point behind British Daddy in the standings, so Brad is 16th on 270 points, Peatman is 17th on 269, so as it stands, Peatman will jump him, but it doesn't look like these positions are going to hold for that much longer, because in one lap, British Daddy is closed 3 seconds, and may even look, punching that boost button again, may even look to get Peatman into the first corner. He's got to swing to the inside, make the move, hard on the brakes, down the inside, and gets the move done. Lovely work for British Daddy, though it's not the, I hesitate to say, not the best place to overtake, because you just give the car behind you slipstream all the way through a Rouge, up Radeon and down the straight. But nonetheless, he's gonna keep his finger on that boost button and try and get away. And he has set the fastest lap. You're right, thanks Dennis. Not hanging about. 1:55.4. Fastest lap for British Daddy, and he's just clattered that bollard on the way in to Le Coombs. That's not going to help him, but he is still maintaining that gap and now starting to pull away. So, good work there. Oh, that gap is just at the front is tantalisingly close for Pagani. 0.8 of a second. It's now closing in. T. Smith now eating into that boost, just draining those reserves as he tries to stay ahead. Pagani clearly has got the quicker run on the medium tyres. As we head round for the end of lap 15, these guys will go again. They will only want to do one more stop, so it depends when they want to come in. Whether they want to leave themselves 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 laps for the final stint. The undercut is an option for Pagani, although you would expect T. Smith to come back at him in the final stages if he does try that. Oh, Pagani's hitting that boost button, he's got barely any left now. Under a quarter of the meter remaining, as we see City Posh Blue pit for the second time at the end of lap 15, sorry. That's a long way to go for the final stint for City Posh Blue. He's going to have to go on the medium tyres again and do another 11 laps. But you can see the tyre's pretty much dead, so not the greatest race for him. I cannot fathom how this gap is staying at about 0.8. Big wiggle from Pagani there. It's going to drop him back slightly. Really is forcing the issue here. See, he's been forcing T. Smith to use his boost as well. That's come down considerably from the first stint. He didn't really use that much at all. Oh, Pagani's wide. Pagani's wide. He's onto the AstroTurf. He just held it. You can't push that hard on the medium tyres when they're this worn. Picks up a penalty for it. Just drops back a little. He's going to have to wait for the final stint. Possibly the pit stop to make his move. Although fuel is pretty similar now. Again, T. Smith just managing to save that little bit extra. If only you could see it. He's going to pit. Oh, Pagani's pitting. He's going for the undercut. So T. Smith carries on. Pagani is going to pit at the end of lap 16, which is going to give him 10 laps for his final stint. You'd imagine that would see him back onto the medium tyres, as behind him Fever pits as well. So T. Smith is going to go another lap. Pagani will get the undercut, may well see him into the lead, but then he'll be at the disadvantage. Aaron is carrying on as well. He's done a pretty good job with his tyres, has Aaron. He may well be able to go a few laps more. So just keep a... Just in case he's not completely out of it, just keep an eye on Aaron. He's maybe able to push those mediums a couple more laps, go onto the softs at the end and get some pace. We will see. Pretty solid run from Lee Cole so far. Back into third for the time being, although Junk Sport is not a million miles away from him, just 2 seconds now. This has been an excellent stint for Junk Sport. Where's Pagani? out in 8th, right with Fever. I'm not... Oh, Fever's gone onto the soft, so he must be going for an extra stop. Because he's only half filled the tank, that's why he's battling with Pagani at this stage. Not going to help Pagani at all. Fever onto the soft tyres, Pagani would be wise, just as he has done. Yeah, he knows what he's doing, Pagani. Lets Fever get ahead. And now he'll just try and hang on, get a bit of slipstream. He'll just conserve his own car and his own tyres a little bit. And use Fever to tow him around to a faster lap time. It's going to be pretty difficult to hold on to the back of him though. Interesting decision from Fever. He did a long first stint, reasonably long. But now he's pitted on his second pit stop and come out with half a tank of fuel and soft tyres, so you can only imagine he's going to go and pit again, which may well cost him. In the meantime, he is fast approaching the Peatman, who is on the limit of fuel and tyres, and Peatman knows that's not his battle, he just lets Fever through. But now that just brings him into the crosshairs of Pagani. There's not really anywhere to get out of the way until he got onto the straight, but he has now. I think quite sensibly. Whoa, Pagani. Just weaving and swaying, trying to find a way past. Peatman's not going to give this one up. Pagani's going to have to go down the inside into the final chicane, which he does, gets the car stopped nicely. And Peatman peels off into the pits behind T. Smith. So T. Smith is in, Pagani is coming down. The start finish straight now. Let's see how much fuel he needs to put in. Here he comes. There's Fever. And where is Pagani? There is Pagani. They are side by side coming out of the pits. Pagani drops him right behind. So it's not quite worked for Pagani. He is going to try the overtake down into Eau Rouge. Oh, and it's very close as he cuts in front of the nose of T. Smith, who just manages to avoid him. He's now going to have the run up Radion and down the straight though. And immediately regains the net race lead. Pagani's going to try and stick it in on the inside. And he makes it work. With these two going toe to toe as they have been doing all race. Yeah, that little interaction with Fever and then with Peatman probably did cost Pagani at least a second or so. Might it cost him the race? We'll have to wait and see. Pagani as well has got pretty much zero boost left in his meter, whereas T. Smith is nearly at 25%, so that could prove a deciding factor as well. Let's see where everyone else is. Aaron is still going round and now will come into the pits and slide into the pits, nearly emulating unsafe release last night with a very unfortunate crash into the pit wall, and then nearly did it again on his next pit stop. That was more similar to his second attempt, just kicking the back end out in an effort to get into the pits quickly. Lee Cole follows Aaron in, and so does Junkie's boys. A really good showing from Junkie so far. Not too far off the podium. He had to be mentioned, sorry. You weren't going to get away with that. It even got caught on the stream last night. Never going to get away with that not being mentioned. Through go Pagani and T. Smith, still pretty much overtaking each other at every corner at this stage. And it is, I can't even tell who it's going to be down here. It's going to be Pagani. Oh, very close again. Side by side coming through Eau Rouge. Not many people would be able to pull that off. Excellent driving between the two of them so far. I don't think I've seen a single moment of contact, despite the number of overtakes and incredibly close driving. I mean, look at that. It's brilliant driving. Well, it's not worked out for Aaron so far, but as we thought, he has come out on the soft tyres. He's 5 seconds behind the two in front of him. So it's not out of the realms of possibility, with those two battling nose to tail, probably to the... So he's 9 seconds ahead of Bredish Daddy. Ross is going to go around for another lap, so he's going to have a super fast stint at the end on soft tyres, because he'll only have to do a maximum 6 laps. Bred, however, is on the red line of fuel after his soft tyre stint. And he will pit, and that will let Fever through, and Fever on his... I'm not going to say questionable strategy, because it may well work out for him. We'll have to wait and see, but he will have to do an extra pit stop, and that will cost him probably about 35 to 40 seconds, which at the minute would put him probably down in 9th place as he comes out. So yeah, we will see. In the meantime, however, he is second, 7 seconds clear of Pagani, who currently has the net race lead over T. Smith by a quarter of a second. I think we're going for a record here, a maximum number of overtakes between two cars in one race. Here he comes again. That gap is dropping exponentially. Aaron's now 3 seconds back. It was 5 seconds last time we checked, and that was only half a lap ago. So Aaron will be buying into this in a big way very soon. The question is for Aaron, will he be able to keep those soft tyres lasting until the end? He's doing a pretty decent job on them so far, but still another 6.5 laps to go. Whoa! Taking off. Over the curb there and over the bollards. Aaron will win, says Lennon. It's a big, bold prediction. Didn't quite seem to have the pace of the other two guys on the same tyres in the first stint, but they've just been battling constantly, and it's undoubtedly costing them time. I mean, you can see the laps they've come out 158. It's not, I mean, granted medium tyres, but I've seen these guys got a lot quicker on those tyres. I've seen Pagani do a 156 on mediums. Aaron's going to have to find a way past both of them, though. You can only think it's coming. Ross is in the pits, so he's not going to catch his front three. They're only sort of 13-14 seconds behind already coming round, so start finish straight, but we'll see where it puts him out in relation to the likes of Lee Cole and Junkie Sport. Feber's still going, so Feber now gunning the overtake button, probably realising he's got quite a lot left in the tank there. Push these soft tyres again and try and set another fast lap. He has set the fastest lap of the race at 1:54.4, followed that up with a 1:56.3 and a 1:55.2. So he currently has a 10-second lead. This may yet work out for Feber. He's 25 seconds ahead of Lee Cole at the minute, but obviously he's going to have a fresh set of tyres to go on probably after this lap. So I was sceptical at first, but it may well work. Pagani makes the move yet again down the inside into Lacoon. Takes second place from T. Smith, and Aaron is now right on these guys' tail, so we have a 3-car train for the net race lead. Aaron has to find a way past before those soft tyres start to wear, no doubt about it. He's pushing the limits of those tyres to go that many laps on them. And if he stays behind these guys, he's going to start to suffer. He's got barely any overtake left. He's going to have to use it wisely. What can he do to find a way past? This guy's heading into the straight now. Fever is coming up. He's on red line fuel, so he will be coming into the pits. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll go back now as we look at Aaron trying to make a move on T. Smith. Down the back straight. T. Smith goes defensive. Aaron now switches to the outside. Fever is in. We'll see where he comes out in a minute. We're going to keep an eye on this for now. Pagani and Aaron makes the move on T. Smith. He's very deep into the corner. T. Smith's going to look to switch back and get a good run out of the chicane onto the start-finish straight. But it's Pagani who takes the race lead. Followed now by Aaron. And Aaron's looking to get ahead of Pagani. And Aaron's managed to get a fantastic run out of the corner. Pagani defends. Aaron in second. T. Smith third. There is nothing between these guys. We've still got another 5 laps to go. Fever is dropping back through the pack as they all stream past. Ross comes past. City Posh Blue is coming down the start finish straight now. Fever's still in the pits. Here he comes. So he's going to come up behind Ross and probably ahead of City Posh Blue. Yeah, so Fever out in 7th, but obviously on the right amount of fuel, a fresh set of tyres, fresh set of soft tyres, and plenty of boost left. So we'll see what he can do in terms of moving through the pack. 4th, he's not out of reach for Fever, which should be an excellent result for him. Aaron still leads, Pagani second, T. Smith third. It should be reiterated that is more than enough for the title for T. Smith, even if Pagani wins, but he will still want to win. It's in his DNA, he will still want to win this race, but in the meantime Aaron is past both of them and he's getting away. He's a second clear. He just needs to manage his tyres, keep hold of this, and he has got the race win in the bag if he can hold on. Trying to pull away now, just that everybody else is out of the picture for the podium. Main contender is probably Ross on the soft tyres, and he's a good 15 seconds back, so unless there's any incidents, he won't be catching. So you're looking at your three podium sitters here. Most likely Aaron has now stretched the gap to 2 seconds. He is getting away, and he has got 4 laps to keep hold of his soft tyres and put this race to bed. Bit of a wiggle from Pagani coming out of the first corner, and that has let T. Smith get ahead of him. And again, they go nose to tail down into Eau Rouge. Pagani will have to run up the hill. He's got no overtake left, no boost whatsoever, and T. Smith is pretty much out as well. So there won't be anything there for those two. They're going to have to rely on slipstream. Late braking from Pagani again, and this time T. Smith shuts the door. He's not having that. Excellent racing again. Again, Pagani pushing it wide. He's on the grass and he's struggling to get the car straightened up. Just about holds on to it. Pagani suffering with his tyres as well now. This is going to be difficult for him. Rom's not happy. Aaron's 2.5 seconds in the lead. Could have multiple implications. We're going to have to figure out, it's beyond my capabilities, especially a couple of beers in, to figure out the team championship at the minute. If anybody in the chat wants to get a spreadsheet up and do it for me, I'd be very grateful. But the team championship as it stands, Junkie Sport is 6th. Aaron obviously in the lead for Team Aaron. Junkie Sport is the top runner for an unsafe junkie called Pete Romelson at the minute. Where Pete Man is 10th and Bread is 8th. Fever, meanwhile, already making headway, looking to get past Junkie Sport for 6th place. Here he goes, going to make his move. He's got plenty of boost left to use should he require it. Not electing to get in the slipstream. Now he's back into the slipstream. Still plenty of time to get up the straight and make a dive down the inside of the final chicane. He's not going to do it. We know Fever's an exceptionally patient driver. He's not going to take any risks here. He's got Ross not too far ahead. Just looks to get a good run out of the final corner. Excellent work from Fever. That is perfectly done. Brilliant move. He's passed Junkie Sport before the finish line. He fires away down into La Source and away in pursuit of Ross, and ahead of them Lee Collar is now suffering on his tyres. So Lee Collar's got a job on his hands to hang on to 4th and possibly even 5th, with Ross and Fever both gaining. Back to the front, Pagani is starting to drop away. Tyres, but giving it absolutely everything, but his tyres are now suffering. He's got another 3 laps to do on them, and they're already below 50%, I would say. Yeah, he's just struggling to get the car turning and get any sort of traction out the corners now, and the gap to T. Smith is now 1.5 seconds, and in the meantime Aaron is 3 seconds clear up the road. Not too long left for Aaron. Right, I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try and figure this out. Bear with me. So the team championship had Dead Bull Racing have got the title, that was confirmed last night. An unsafe junkie called Pete Romelson. 6 points clear of hashtag Team Aaron before the start of the week. Now, I can't do this in my head. This is ridiculous. I'm going to give it a go. Just shout up if you see anything happening on track. In fact, with these 3 spread out, I'm going to keep checking back in on them, but I'm going to go back to this battle. So we can see Lee being closed in on by Ross, in turn being closed in on by Fever. So there were 6 points clear. Brom got pole. and then got 6th. I'm going to figure this out in my head and then let you know what I think is happening. This was a silly idea, what was I thinking? FIBA has made the move, so FIBA is absolutely flying. Compared to, I mean, I don't think Ross had a bit of trouble on that last lap, 158.1 compared to FIBA's 155.7, and FIBA is now making the move on Lee Colley, is not hanging around. Already half a second purple on that first sector. This has worked out pretty well for FIBA, all told. Fair play to him, nobody else tried this. With 11 laps to go, everybody else going for the medium tyres, FIBA went straight in onto 2 sets of softs, and he has set absolutely blistering lap times, gaining 3-4 seconds on people around him per lap, and he is through into 4th, and that has worked out an absolute treat for him. And you can only see, barring any mishaps, you can only see him running away now to the finish over the last lap and a half. Aaron at the front maintaining the gap of 3 seconds to T. Smith, who's now 3.5 seconds to Pagani, so Pagani is going to have to settle for 3rd. But it's looking good for Aaron at this time. Those soft tyres are almost dead. We'll see what lap time this is, see if T. Smith's got a chance. You don't think T. Smith's going to be pretty consistent around 158? It's really, Aaron's suffering now. Is there any chance of T. Smith catching him? It's still a 158.6, so he should be okay. Just have to make sure there's no mistakes. At the back, everything pretty much settled. Nobby Norris in 11th, Pete Man in 10th. Bredish Daddy in 8th ahead of City Boss Blue, who's not had the best of nights. We are now on the final lap. Everything looks pretty much sewn up. Aaron is not losing any time to T. Smith, in fact he's gaining time now. 3.3 seconds, it looks like he's going to settle for 2nd place. He'll be more than happy, obviously. I mean, of course, he wouldn't be as good a driver as he was without wanting to win every single race, but 2nd and another Drivers' Championship in FTRL will be more than enough for T. Smith. Pagani will take 3rd, FIBA will take 4th, and the battle is between probably these two guys now, Ross Leacol and Junkie Sport, for 5th, 6th and 7th. I'll have to wait till the end and maybe do these sums again for the team championship. I don't want to get it wrong. I probably will. Here comes Aaron. Absolutely spot on strategy from Aaron. Fantastic win for him. He takes the checkered flag in 1st place. T. Smith comes home a worthy champion in 2nd, holding off the challenge of Pagani, who did everything he could. He takes the last place on the podium. And what a drive from FIBA. Magnificent lap times towards the end. He takes 4th. Ross is going to come home in 5th with Lee Cole in 6th. Junkie Sport is going to hold on and hold off British Daddy. Oh, well. Was there an incident there? I don't know. Junkie Sport has let Bread over the line. I think, by my maths, before that happened, I think Team Aaron had just clinched 2nd place anyway, just. And obviously that will have helped as well. So I think that means, oh yeah, I can see, yeah, unsafe, I think, I see you agree with me. Yeah, I think that that secures second place in the constructors for Team Aaron, which would be great. But I will confirm, obviously we've still got stewards inquiries and everything else, so the final league standings will be out probably over the weekend. Big man coming home in 10th, and we will see Nobby Norris having a bit of fun. Why not? Can't do that in F1. Come on, Nobby. What a great race. Absolutely brilliant strategies playing out. It's great to see everything coming together again. There's people running in different strategies. I mean, Aaron's putting in an unbelievable performance there to get the win. But my driver of the day is Fever, because he came from absolutely nowhere, pulled off a completely different strategy to everyone else. He was nowhere at the start of the race and has come through to take fourth. A great drive from him. But at the end of the day, all the plaudits have to go to the champion. Yet another title for an already groaning trophy cabinet for T. Smith. So absolutely brilliant. Well done, mate. Just unbelievably fast and consistent over the course of the season, especially in such a difficult season where the first weeks were pretty much a lottery at times with the karting and the Mazda races. So difficult to just maintain that and pull away at towards the end of the season through the more standard races, should we say? But yeah, a worthy winner, and we will wait to see if anybody can challenge him next season in season 13. Please do join us for that. If you're watching and you're not involved in FTRL and you want to be, and why wouldn't you want to be, we still have spaces available for the Friday League, which is a bi-weekly league next season. So please get in touch. Either best way is probably via the FTRL Twitter page. Drop us a direct message and we'll get you in. Promise you will enjoy it. Oh, well, there's a question. Final question for the season. Will season 13 be the season where Tom doesn't win the championship? Well, you never know. You never know what will happen. Everybody is improving all the time. I think we've seen that especially through the course of this season. The driving standards have been outstanding. I don't recall even particularly in terms of the respect and the driving ability shown on track. I mean, we saw it there between T. Smith and Pagani for a large period of the race. Such close racing, so many overtakes. I didn't see them want to make contact. Equally, I don't think there's been a proper stewards inquiry since a few weeks now, which says a lot for the standard of driving and the people that are racing in this league. So absolutely hats off to everyone for driving their hearts out. Fantastic season. So yeah, with everyone improving all the time, why not? Somebody would challenge, and obviously there is the wild card that is TMC Jono, who probably, I'd have to go back and check the figures, but probably won the second half of the season outright, quite possibly. With the amount of wins he picked up, so there's always that to consider as well. We'll see. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us once again. We will be on a week's break next week, but we will be back after that as we move into the summer for season 13, so please do join us then. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.